Hey, what's up, you guys? Strongside here, bringing you another new and improved Affliction Warlock 7.0.3 PvP guide. I've broken this video down into a couple sections, so if something catches your interest and you want to skip to that part of the video completely, feel free. Today we're going to be talking about some Affliction Warlock changes for pre-patch 7.0.3. We're going to be talking about some talent changes. We're going to be talking about, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of Haste versus Mastery for Legion, some add-on suggestions, and towards the end of the video I'll give you a general overview and discussion of my personal opinions for the Affliction Warlock so far. We're just going to go ahead and dive right in. First up, we'll be talking about the changes. Mana and Soul Shards are your main resources once again. Your Soul Swap and Soul Burn have been removed from Affliction. Soul Shards are spent through Unstable Affliction at a cost of 1 Soul Shard per application. I forgot to put this in here, you guys, but Agony now generates your Soul Shards, not Corruption anymore. Your Unstable Affliction damage now stacks per application, so you can get some beefy Unstable Afflictions out of this if you just spam it, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Your Drain Soul and Haunt abilities or spells are now talents, so you have to spec into those. And your Drain Life is your main filler spell, and it does, I think, more healing now, healing you for 200% of the damage done, so it's really good. And but your dots now are your main focus, and we don't really focus much on the filler anymore. There's not really much need for it. We'll talk about that later on. Go ahead and dive right into the talents, you guys, and hope you enjoy.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and dive right into the talents. We're going to go ahead and start off with our first tier, your level 15 talents. Haunt really is not that viable anymore. Wrath and Agony is good. Your Agony's damage now ramps up twice as high. The more haste you have, the faster your Agony ticks up, so I mean it can be really powerful, but in my opinion, this is more for a 2v2, 3v3 setting, so you can really focus on keeping your Agony up with the full row of dots on every target. Kind of gets a little bit crazy in battlegrounds because, I mean, for the most part, honestly, you're just trying to keep your full row of dots on as many targets as you can. So, I mean, sometimes your dots do fall off, unfortunately, in that situation, especially when your target caller's telling you to focus a certain target and you are trying to swap and you're trying to, it's kind of hard to switch focus targets really quick like that with a block because you don't really have that burst damage to put out, so you're trying to just damage everything at one time. Drain Soul is good, it's definitely viable, it's what I like, it's been working really well for me right now. It drains the target soul, causing X amount of shadow damage over 5.3 seconds. The only downside is it only heals you for 133% of the damage done, rather than your Drain Life that's going to heal you for 200% of the damage done. But Drain Soul does generate 1 Soul Shard if the target dies during this effect. So I mean it can be really powerful, especially once again having a full row of dots on a lot of targets, and especially with a lot of your teammates helping you get those targets down. Your Drain Soul, if they're within usually 30% health, I mean, during that 5 seconds, you can pretty much take them down. Your Tier 2, level 30 talents is going to be Contagion and Absolute Corruption. This is really, Absolute Corruption is almost too good to pass up, in my opinion, just because Corruption is now permanent, and it deals 25% increased damage, and it lasts for 40 seconds against other players. So I mean, you can pretty much, you only have to refresh it once every now and then you can focus more on doing other things. So Contagion is nice just because, once again, your save. A lot of people, there's two different types of playstyles in my opinion. Some people that's running Contagion, they're going to try to keep Agony up a lot, which would probably go there, and once your Agony's ticking, that's what's generating your Soul Shards, and once you get a full row of full stacks of Soul Shards, you can just unload, keeping that dot applied. It increases all damage you do on everything by 15%, which is crazy, and you can, once again, your Unstable Affliction damage stacks per application of Soul Shard, so I mean you can get pretty beefy damage out of that. Your level 45 talents, we got Demon Skin, and I mean these are all pretty viable, but just once again, this is kind of depends on your situation. This is more of a overall. I just like it because it gives you a bubble, and I mean you're already tanky anyway, and just the more tanky you can be, especially with Demon Skin and Dark Pact, and your Unending Resolve, I mean, you can survive a pretty heavy burst. I mean, you can probably almost survive a Pharaoh and a Rogue if played right. So, I like to run Demon Skin. Once again, it's been working really well for me. Level 60 talents. This is more of a PvE thing. Sow the Seeds, Soul Harvest. I've seen people running it. It can be good, but I just prefer the extra dot, the extra damage. It heals you for 100% of the damage it deals. So, I mean, if you're spamming Siphon Lives on everybody, especially in Battlegrounds, etc., you're going to have a lot of random healing coming onto you. I mean, once again, you don't even need a healer almost. Your level 75 talents, the only two that I really think is viable, in my opinion, Demonic Circle and Dark Pact. Demonic Circle, I like to mess with it every now and then. It gives you just that extra little bit of mobility. That's one of the things, like I said, Warlocks at this point are really tanky, they're really beefy, they have a lot of healing going on and a lot of absorbs, but they really lack in mobility in my opinion. And this gives you, if you really feel like if they're training you that much, I mean, Demonic Circle, it gives you that much, a little bit of ability to try to kite. Burning Rush, I mean, it increases your movement speed by a good bit, but I mean, 4% of your maximum health per second, there's no way that's viable in Arena. Dark Pact gives you that huge heal for 400% of your pet's health, and this is on a 1 minute cooldown, so once again, it's huge. It gives you a really good absorb, so you can survive a crazy burst with that. I go with Supremacy on your level 90 talents. There's Supremacy and Sacrifice are both pretty good. Service can be good too. Just once again, this really boils down to your playstyle. This is one of those, I mean, really affects your playstyle right here. I like Supremacy just because, I mean, you maintain control over Greater Demons indefinitely. So, I mean, the Doom Guard is nice. And the Infernal Nice for AoE, and it has a stun, so I mean, if you're kind of getting trained by like double melee or something, it's good to go for the Infernal just because it does have that little stun. It can really mess up their openers, you know, things like that, or maybe even give you that extra second or two to get your fear off, if the case be. Summon Doomguard is nice just because you do have a slow, and it does give you an interrupt too, which I believe is on a 45-second cooldown, so it's really nice. And this is more really of a PvE thing. Sacrifice is you sacrifice your demon, granting you demonic power, which sometimes deals X amount of shadow damage to all targets within 8 yards. I mean, it can put up some good numbers for you, especially more so in Battlegrounds and things like that. But Grimmer Service is more so for kind of, in my opinion, for burst, so-called, for the Warlock. I mean, trying to get as much damage out in a short amount of time as you can here. But I mean, it's just really, in my opinion, not all that great, just because it's a 25 seconds, you summon just an extra pet, and then it's on a 1.5 minute cooldown. So it's not all that great, but it can pull off some clutch interrupts and things like that. So Soul Fiji is pretty nice. It's I've seen actually a lot of Warlocks running it right now, but I just, once again, I cannot pass up. I love Phantom Singularity. It is great. It's an instant cast. It's on 1 minute cooldown. You're getting tons of healing. It heals you for 30% of the damage that you do, and it deals damage to all targets for X amount of shadow damage, which you can see here is a huge, pretty good chunk of damage over 14 seconds. So you really only have about a 40-45 second downtime for this, so it's really not, it's really great.
Alright guys, we're going to talk about Haste versus Mastery real quick. There's a lot of speculation on Haste versus Mastery as an Affliction Warlock. While both Haste and Mastery are very close in comparison, it seems like Haste is better according to things like Simcraft and things, because it reduces your global cooldown and decreases the ramp up time of your dots. Haste also affects the your attack speed and your pet's attack speed, so it affects your pet and can cause extra ticks on your dots, overall making your pet and you deal more damage faster, and giving you a little bit more leeway with the ramp up time of your agony, compared to Mastery, which is still very good, but once again it's close in damage, but it's a very expensive stat for Affliction Warlocks, And Mastery increases all of your damage that all of your dots deal. Siphon Life, Agony, Corruption, Unstable Affliction. It increases all of their damage by that Mastery percentage. So it still makes it very viable, and it really just depends on your style of gameplay, whether on your talent choices, really, whether what your build going off of, mainly boiling down to how many targets you have and what is the game types that you're playing is really the only way that I know to break it down for you guys. Alright, you guys, I'm just going to give you a suggested add-on list. These are some of the things that I use. Need to know, helps keep track of your remaining dot times. Mixed scrolling battle text clears the cluster of numbers above the targets away, making combat more visible. Tidy plates makes bigger enemy nameplates. Huge debuffs shows the debuffs above the target. Recount, it displays your healing and damage done. So overall, I mean, it's just more of a quality of life thing. You can adjust it for your current battle or the overall damage done, so it's kind of nice, especially in battlegrounds and stuff, to kind of see where you stand. That's about all I have for you guys today. Remember to give this video a big thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Follow me on Twitch. I'll catch you on Dark Spear.